Welcome to another video right here on FE Builds. It's a bit windy out here today, but I want to record this video just to answer some questions that I may not have answered properly in previous videos. It's a given, many people like to upgrade and put bigger tires on their vehicles. I'm one of them, and I've not only done it on this car, I've done it on my buckies. In other parts of the world you'll call it a truck or a utility vehicle, a ute. I've done it on them too, and it's one of the things I wanted to do on my Jimny. And many people will look at it and say it's most probably a macho thing. You want to do this because putting bigger tires looks macho, and it's not necessarily the case. Sometimes when you're putting bigger tires, it's the cheaper alternative to get a bit more ground clearance on the lowest point of the vehicle. But speaking about the Jimny specifically, there's some things that you should take note of when it comes to tire change. And I'm not speaking from an expert perspective, but rather from a Jimny owner perspective. So I'm just sharing my experience concerning tires. Now, many people have asked what's the best size tire to put on. And I found that the car comes with 195 AT R15. Rims. It's still on 15-inch rims. These are just different rims from the originals. The offset on these is slightly different from the originals, but not too far off. So it still works, and it works fine. I don't know the offset of this rim, but it's very close to the original. But basically, I've recognized and tested from my own experience, because I've tested quite a few tires, and I've been in a privileged position to be able to trade in tires that are still new and top up and get bigger tires and test various different tires. So I can speak from that experience. If you don't want to do a lot of modifications to your Jimny, for instance, you don't want to lift it, and I'm speaking Jimny Gen 4, JB74 or Jimny Sierra, this Jimny that looks like this. If you don't want to do a lot of modifications to it, and you want to still increase the tire size slightly, maybe it's to get a bit more stability on the road or slightly more ground clearance, or just, you want to push it to the maximum size you can get. I was advised at the dealership where I bought this to go to a maximum of 215 75 15, and that's basically if you don't want to do a lot of modifications to the vehicle. So 215 75 15 I found works awesome, and you won't have to do much to the vehicle. But in my case, I found before I even fitted the new bumper and the other stuff, I didn't really have to trim anyway. 215 75 15 fitted on this Jimny just like that, so that was good. If you want to go bigger than that, the moment you pass that number, you start to notice a decrease in the car's responsiveness in terms of acceleration. And as we all know, the Jimny already struggles with acceleration in high range and its pulling power. So that's something to take note of. So you're already starting off with less power and high range. The low range is really good. It's awesome when you're going on bigger tires, but it also reduces drastically when you go over a certain size, which I will explain. But in the high range, you would notice that from above 215 75 15, you'll start to notice a decrease in acceleration, and even at 215 75 15, you will notice that slightly, but not as much as the bigger sizes. So the next size I went up to was 235 75 15. And personally, if you really want bigger tires, then that's the tire I would recommend, especially if you want to keep your gearing stock. You will still lose power and acceleration, but your low range will still be good. That's 235, 75, 15. For that one, you might need some trimming here and there on your bumpers, and you might need a lift kit. Would be advisable to have a lifted vehicle when you go bigger than 215, 75, 15. Okay, so we've bent it even more. Still quite a lot of space here. And still quite a lot of space here. And then the next step that I went to after that was 30. And that was 30 by 9.5 R15. And this is where I noted that I couldn't use, with the rims that I had, the OEM rims and these rims, I couldn't use the spacers anymore, because either it pushes the tires out too much or it pushes it to a point where the tire hits at this point behind here, which you would note that they've been trimmed, and I'll explain that now. So with the 30 9.5 R15, I noticed that without the spacers, you didn't have to trim off that little bit down there, and I'll just zoom into it so you can see. But then in my case, it wasn't enough. I still wanted to go further. I needed a bit more ground clearance, just a bit more on the lowest point of the vehicle. That's the bottom of the axles. And also I just wanted to increase that breakover angle slightly and improve the angle slightly. So I went to 31 10.5 15. These tires are 31 10.5 15, and that's the max that I'm going to go on. If you want to go 30-inch or bigger, have gearing the car down in mind, because you reach a point where the car is so sluggish and you're putting so much strain on the car, even in low range, that it becomes pointless in doing it. And now I'm not advising you to gear down. I'm saying if you're going up to such big tires, then you'll encounter a situation where you have to change the gears in the transfer case, or you have to change the gears in the diff, the gearing ratio, if that is even possible with the Jimny. I haven't explored the avenue of changing gears in the diffs, but I have changed the gears in the transfer case over here, which reduces it quite a bit, and it basically makes these 31s ride like the OEM 195 AT15. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on tires. Many people have asked me questions, and here's the video. I'm just giving you a straight up video concerning all my findings. And take note, look, people say you'll lose a lot of efficiency, and you know, your fuel consumption will go up, and that is true to a certain extent. But I've noticed things like a roof rack and lifting the vehicle and other things, which you will have to lift the vehicle if you want to put bigger tires. They also impact your fuel consumption, and also the weight that we add on the vehicle impacts that. So it really depends on your situation, your setup. If you've got a roof rack and all those things on, putting bigger tires on won't help with your fuel efficiency. Even if you gear it down, it will still consume quite a bit more than the stock standard setup. So just to give you a picture, and it's quite a sore thing to take in, but when I got this vehicle, it was first consuming to a point where 1 liter would get you 16.5 kilometers. So 1 liter of fuel would get you as far as 16.5 kilometers. And now we're sitting at a point where 1 liter will get you 10 kilometers. And that's all the things we've added on. The bigger tires, the metal bumper at the front, the lift. This is not a standard lift. It's not a 50mm lift. It's quite a high lift. And the reason is my use case. And I don't recommend everyone to do that, because once you lift the vehicle beyond a certain point, there's other things you have to take note of. There's other things that you have to look into, and if you speak to the experts, they would actually advise you accordingly. I had to change my sway bar, because we found when we lifted it beyond a certain point and put certain springs on, the car was inverting the sway bar. One link would go up, one link would go down. And if you don't know what the links are, that right there, that's a link. So one would go up, one would go down. They're normally supposed to both be on the downside. So basically with this sway bar, when you go off-road and you go into really hectic axle twisters, you just take off this clip over here, and you take off a piece over there, and it allows it to move freely. So you're allowed to flex without actually inverting your links. So it works quite well. But that's if you go the route of going very tall. But I think we've diverted off the main topic of this video. That's a wrap for tires. That's just what I wanted to share. And yeah, Jimny JB74 Gen 4. That's my experience. That's what I did. And hope this information helped. But understand and know it's just a pointer in the right direction. It's not supposed to be set in stone that this is what you should do, and it's not expert or professional advice. It's just my 2 cents, or me speaking about my experience from owning a Jimny and going through the various different tire changes. And I'm just sharing that experience so that if you want to go this route, you can make an informed decision. But still, after this video, I advise you to still speak to experts and get some more information and advice before going that route. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe, like, share, and yeah, stay tuned. Stick along for the journey.